Hey there, everybody. Donna Hoffman here with you. That was a weird false start. Hopefully this one worked. It's so good to be here with you. I'm the design advocate, as people call me, because I'm here to help you get everything you want in the interior design world that you're living in your beautiful home that you're working on and creating. I know you're spending time on Instagram and Pinterest and Houzz, and we really want to see you getting those gorgeous results on your own. So if it's Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, whoosh, everything stops here at the design studio. No matter how much bedlam is happening on a project, we stop so that we can pop out here and talk to you. I love to take your questions live. Today's topic is all about the agony of the heirloom. Yes, heirloom furniture. Family furniture that you feel really guilty about parting with. What do you do with it? We're going to help you solve some of those problems. And if you have a question about something that you have been given by a family member, post your questions live. We love to be able to answer anything that you have to talk about with us on the topic of the week. So, family heirloom furniture. I was posting in a private group that I'd be talking about that today, and a couple of people left some really funny comments, as in, oh, yes, very timely, could really use this topic. And other people said, hey, I just got rid of a bunch of stuff, and I am feeling fine. Alrighty, so what's the story with family heirloom furniture, and why does it torture people? It really does. Well, there are a couple of things to think about, and one of them really is kind of a skill that you can use in life when you're trying to figure out a tough solution on a topic. So, when you are faced with a problem and the answer either A or B, neither one looks great to you, the way, which in the case of family heirloom furniture is keep it or get rid of it, the way to help get through that type of choice is a technique that I learned in a great book called Essentialism by Mark McCowen, M-C-K-O-W-E-N. Sorry, Mark, if I misspelled it. Great book. But Mark teaches a technique that essentialists use, and those are people who know how to cut through all the smoke and mirrors and get down to the meaty stuff of life. So you want to ask yourself this question when it comes to your family heirloom furniture. Which problem would you rather have? Would you rather live in an environment that has something in it that you just don't like, that you just find really unattractive? It's really kind of killing that room, that beautiful result you're after. Or would you rather have the problem of living with the guilt of getting rid of it? Okay, those are really your two choices. You're going to have a problem either way. Either live with it and don't like it, or get rid of it and deal with the perhaps momentary guilt that you feel in getting rid of that. So if you've drilled down after that to, okay, I am going to keep it, but I need to learn to live with it, here are some things that we like to help people do and that we help families do when we're designing for them. And again, if you're just joining me in this Facebook Live, I'll take your questions live today, all about family heirloom furniture. If you've had a problem with something you're trying to reinvent, this is the time to ask those questions. Because often when it comes to holding on to those pieces, it's a reinvention issue that will really help them. So here are some things that you can do to help reinvent that family heirloom furniture. So first of all, obviously if you have really valuable things that are from, a collectible mid-century modern items, those are really pretty easy to use, right? But if you're talking about furniture that was produced in the last 20, 30, or 40 years that may not even be in the best of condition, that's the stuff that tends to torture people. So when you want to think about thinning out some of that furniture, here's something you can do to help reinvent it. First of all, think about breaking up those sets. You can take a master bedroom set, let's say, that you inherited from someone in your family, and the bachelor chests or end tables, they can be broken up and put into other ancillary bedrooms in the house and certainly repainted, refinished, new hardware. And then you can, in your own bedroom, where you're still going to use the bed that was left to you, the headboard, and then the dresser that's part of that suite. And then you can do some really cool new side tables or end tables or nightstands around that bed. So start breaking up those sets. Something you can do in dining rooms. You can absolutely get rid of the sideboard, take the hutch off the sideboard entirely. That sideboard could become a media cabinet somewhere else. Or if you want to get rid of a dining room set that really just you don't like it but has sentimental value, maybe it belonged to an aunt, well, what you can do is just hold on to one dining chair, recover it. Not a high cost thing to do. Repaint it if you need to, and then use that one chair as a spare chair in an ancillary bedroom or as a desk chair in your son's room. So at least you've held on to a little something that you have from that beautiful collection, or beautiful to the relative that left it to you, but not really your taste or not really your preference. Here's the issue that a lot of design lovers like you bump up against. If you're sensitive to your surroundings, and most of the people who connect with me are, you love design because you love having a gorgeous aesthetic in a home. You're craving that. It really lifts and affects your sense of well-being. So if you have items that have intense sentimental value, but you just don't find beautiful, that absolutely is going to wear on you slowly, day in, day out, over time. So that's why I know a lot of you struggle with this topic. So if you've decided that getting rid of it just doesn't work, I would also ask you to consider that relative that loved you so much. Do you think they would really want you to hold on to a desk that you think is atrocious looking and that you just can't stand sitting down to work at? You know, would your grandfather really want to bug you in that way? Or would he be happier thinking, hey, somebody is using my desk that really could use it. It's gone to a resale shop, or it's been given to somebody just starting out in life. They don't have money to furnish their first apartment, but this is going to help them. So you can think about it perhaps in that way too, if you're trying to alleviate guilt. So we're talking about alleviating the guilt of hand-me-down furniture, getting rid of it or keeping it, and what you can do if you are keeping it. And again, if you're just joining me in this Facebook Live and you have a question about hand-me-down furniture or comment about it, feel free to post that so I can take your question live. Okay, something else you can do. We talked about breaking up sets and suites of furniture. That can also not only mean taking things and breaking them apart and using them in different parts of your home, but it also can include getting rid of many pieces of that set or suite and just keeping one dresser from that, you know, fictitious bedroom we were talking about. So you've gotten rid of everything else, fresh energy coming into that master bedroom with all new pieces, and that one hand-me-down piece is still there. Something else you can think about. So Katie's telling me we have some questions, but Katie, I have no feed. There's no feed happening here. Oh no.
See the questions.
So Katie is going to high-tech it, and you're going to write me those questions. That could take a while.
That's fun.
Oh, here's a question. Beep, 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 beep. Very technically intricate here. Okay. So Nancy wants to know, I have 4 barrister oak bookcases from an ancestor's law office. Any ideas? Oh, Nancy, I bet those are really cool looking. I think that those could be really gorgeous if they're recolored. I don't know if the color is bothering you, but you know, you could do something spectacular in a young girl's room by recoloring those into a really beautiful high gloss something that's not expected in a barrister's type of bookcase, and you can use those in that way. You can certainly use them in a dining room flanking a sideboard, and again, you can recolor them into something wonderful. If the color is problematic, you can certainly look to change up that hardware. And in terms of how you accessorize them, definitely you can do things that are very stylized. You can add antique mirror to the back. I'm spending your money here, Nancy, by doing that, but we're doing some bookcases right now with an antique mirror at the back, black bookcases, so whatever we put into those cases are really going to pop. So I love the fact that these come from a law office, so certainly doing beautiful books or beautiful covered books in them could also be pretty, Nancy. You might want to think about taking existing books and purchasing some beautiful handmade paper and recovering those books. Remember when you were a kid, or maybe I'm older than you, when I was a kid, we had to make our own book covers. None of this book jacket nonsense. We actually had to, you know, cut up a paper bag, or we do wrapping paper and cover our books. Well, wouldn't it be beautiful if you had some handmade paper, maybe in an important color in your home or in that little girl's room that I'm, you know, making up, and then you just cover some beautiful books from the resale shop or from the secondhand shop, and that could be really great looking too. So Nancy, hopefully some of those ideas got your wheels turning. So since we're so high tech here, because I don't have a feed of questions from you guys, so I'm glad you're out there. So this question is coming from Barbara, and this question has been rewritten for me by Katie. Thank you, Katie. Barbara says, I have my great-grandmother's bergère chair that I've reupholstered. Love it. Any suggestions on how to use it with contemporary beach decor? Yeah, it's exactly what you did. You recover it. Oh my gosh. I mean, you can take that bergère chair into beach decor with a nice wide awning stripe. Do you know what an awning stripe is, Barbara? It's not the little stripe. It's the wide stripe, you know, white and yellow, or white, green, white, or white, blue, white on a bergère chair could be spectacular. Just make sure that you have a great upholsterer so that your flow match, meaning how the pattern goes from the back of the chair down into the seat of the chair, right? Here's your chair. You got the back and then the seat. You want to make sure that that flow match is spot on. But that would be beautiful in a bergère chair. And you can also, you know, do things with recoloring that frame if you want to do a milk wash paint on that. I mean, that could be great in beachy decor. Love, love, love that idea. And I love that you're reusing what you have and putting money into reupholstering it, recreating it. People sometimes ask me, you know, when I'm working with a family heirloom, you know, cost-wise, is it worth doing? Well, you have to consider, is it important to you to keep, you know, the frame that was in your grandmother's home, like Barbara is doing with her bergère chair? If the answer is yes, by all means, put the money into reinventing it, even though purchasing might be the same cost or slightly less. But if the funds are available and you can make something from your home or your childhood home or your grandparents' home, you know, move forward with you in time. I love that. And then let's say, face it too, that's a really green way to go. Talk about containing the footprint of what you're leaving behind on the planet. You're reusing things rather than having things, you know, spend time in the landfill. And I am the world's most mushball, sentimentalist, melancholy woman. So if I can reinvent it and keep it, I love to be able to help people do that. Alrighty, more questions coming in. Here, Katie writing. I'm so sorry, I do not have a feed. Normally we have our tech, you know, life a little bit more together here. Okay, no further questions in the feed. Great. So if you have any questions and you want to pop them in, feel free and do that. I just want to review that what we talked about here today for getting your arms around those family heirlooms, what to do with them, keep them or get rid of them. You have to ask yourself first, what problem would I rather have? Would I rather have the guilt of getting rid of it, or would I rather have the problem of living with something I can't stand? And if keeping it is something that appeals to you, ways to improve that item that drives you crazy is either to reduce it by breaking up a suite of furniture, getting rid of some of it, but keeping a few pieces as your treasures, reinventing them, reupholstering, recovering. Oh, and I didn't mention recutting things. A good upholsterer can absolutely recut an upholstered piece. Now, when you do that, let's say you're taking the camel off the back of a sofa or turning a big rolled arm into a cool track arm, it'll cost you, because as soon as you start cutting into that frame, you've increased your labor as well. You need a really good upholsterer who has a good framer who can do that for you. But there again, if holding on to that frame is really important to you, it might be really well worth your while to do that. Okay, so I have time for one or two more questions. Terry just sent one in. If you have a question, stick it out there in the feed, and I'll be happy to take it. Terry said, I've inherited rattan furniture from the Philippines. How can I reuse it in Kentucky? Terry, how's the condition on that? You know, when so much of what's done now in rattan-looking furniture is actually in really durable indoor-outdoor material. It's not organic. It looks organic, but it's truly man-made, and some of it is even made from the kind of materials used, in the exterior of boats, really intense polys. So if it is in good condition, which I hope it is, I think what you can do is add some beautiful, really clean, simple indoor-outdoor upholstered cushions to it. You didn't mention, I'm assuming it's indoor furniture, but it could be outdoor. But I said indoor-outdoor fabric, which will be higher cost than non-indoor outdoor. But I think that's a great way to reinvent what you have. With anytime you have a structured chair that then needs cushions, new color, new fabric, new pattern, total game changer. And you may, if there's any problem with the caning on the chair, certain upholsterers can help you do some mild repairs. But again, I don't know the color, I don't know the condition, but I don't see any problem with you using it in Kentucky. If you start adding some great cushions, could be great if you have a front porch, that sort of thing. Could be really pretty as well. So, and send me pictures, Terry. I'd love to see what you end up doing with that. In fact, all of you, anybody who's talking about doing some great changes to your family heirloom furniture, you should send those pictures to us. I'd love to see what you're coming up with. Okay, guys, last call for questions. If you have a live question, I'm happy to take it. All about family heirloom furniture, things you're trying to work with, reinvent. I know the torture of the family heirloom. You love the family and kin and friends who have been in your life, but sometimes their furniture taste is definitely different than yours. And not only that, everything doesn't go with everything. And sometimes you have to sacrifice something. Something's got to go. Something's got to give. So, all right, Katie, any more questions? Katie is scribbling madly. We have one more question coming in. While Katie's writing that out, I just want to let you know that by popular demand, next week we are bringing back our closed out last time, sold out. I did this because I was going to say sold out, but we don't sell tickets. We did live workshops a couple months ago, totally closed out. We have brought it back. We'll be doing it next week. It's called How to Facelift a Room from Meh to Amazing. What do those Pinterest rooms have that yours doesn't? We are doing fewer sections, though. I just want to warn you, and we closed out last time. We increased our seating. It's still limited, but we increased our seating capacity to the biggest that this carrier can handle, but we have less workshop times available. And we'll be opening up registration on that tomorrow, so check back here on this page to find out what that's all about. Okay, Debbie wants to know, should we consider selling a wood piece before painting it so as not to devalue the piece? Oh, Debbie, so glad you brought that up. If you are talking about a collectible antique, do not refinish it, do not recolor it. I'm talking about things that were, you know, created, manufactured, mass-produced in the last, 10, 20, 30, 40 years that you've inherited that are not collectible. If you're talking about an antique, 100-year-old, 150-year-old, 200-year-old, what I want you to do instead, 100-year-old item, I want you to please consider talking to an antiques dealer in your area and asking if he or she would be willing to give you an appraisal on your item. Sometimes they would prefer that you send a picture to them. Sometimes they will charge a fee for that. Certainly coming out to your house, they will charge a fee. But if you think you have something of value and you don't want to hurt that value, and you will if you start reupholstering, recutting, refinishing, recoloring, you'll want to have that value checked first. I'm very glad you brought that up, Debbie. Thank you so much. All right, my lovelies, it looks like that is all on questions and time here at the Design Studio. We are putting out design fires all day here, so it's time to put out a few more on some of the great projects that we're working on here. If you liked what you saw here, I hope you'll follow us on Instagram, which is right here, another high-tech thing. We are at decorating.genius, to follow us on Instagram so we can keep inspiring you and teaching you and spending time with you and taking you under our wing. Next week, our Facebook Live topic, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking about the pitfalls and the booby traps when accessorizing your home. So I hope you will join us for that. I hope you'll share this video with your friends and invite them to join us next week when we talk about the pitfalls and the booby traps of accessorizing your home. Okay, lovelies, it was great spending time with you. We'll see you next week, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp, ready to take your questions on accessories. See you then.